it's a big question. And I think at the crux of it, I really truly believe that social media is a tool and that it's not inherently good or bad. It really is dependent on how we, the individual, the parent, society, how we utilize it. So I think the first thing that comes to mind is two experiences I've had as a clinical psychologist with clients where social media had a huge impact on my patients, both in a negative way and a positive way. And I mean, one that comes to mind is I had a teenager, super sweet kid. He was so, full of life, but also dealt with a lot of anxiety. And I remember him coming in one day for a session and his face was just so sad. And he had gotten a haircut that he was so excited about. And because of this excitement, he wanted to share it with his peers. And we talked about this later about, let's think about where we share this, but he utilized Snapchat and he just wanted to just share his joy. And he put a picture of his new haircut on there and it just got bombarded with comments. And unfortunately, the negative comments outweighed the positive because the way he was utilizing Snapchat, the way his friends at school were utilizing Snapchat was to send it to a big group at their public high school. So it was like open up to everyone at that school. So you just had people who felt the need to share things that weren't productive and that impacted his, self-confidence, how he saw it. Something that was so exciting for him, so joyful, quickly became something that triggered a lot of questions about, I'm good enough, right? What does this say about me? And so we worked through, how to share that joy, how to protect himself, and how to also use strategies to cut out the noise and see what actually was useful for him. So that was an example where not great impact. But on the flip side, I had a lot of patients who really utilized it and utilized it in their treatment. I had an 8-year-old who I was seeing for alopecia, and that is for hair loss. So she had lost her eyebrows already, was starting to lose the hair on her head. And this was something she wasn't sure how to start sharing it with her classmates in school because it was becoming noticeable. So she loved YouTube, followed a YouTuber. That was like her favorite thing to do, right? Any reward was, I want to watch some YouTube. And so we created a YouTube episode. She got to be the host. She got to explain what alopecia was. She got to explain how it's actually really cool. She gets to choose different wigs, how she can't control certain things, right? All the research we did together, she got to be the host and share this as an expert. And then we got to share that YouTube episode to her classmates. And her classmates loved it. They did it in class. They watched her YouTube video. So they shared it with the school. And what came out of that was she felt so empowered by that experience. She made more. She started making other episodes for other kids who just got their diagnosis of alopecia. And she got to show things like the first time she went somewhere without her wig and how she was scared, but how then people actually embraced it. So she used social media in a way that really not only helped her own self-worth and empowerment, but then they passed it on to other kids who were in similar situations and other kids that could be, 10 states away, not someone that she knew in her support group. So I think it's just those two examples that come to mind for me with that question.
That's extremely interesting. So it's like, I talked to somebody last week who highlighted a study, I'm forgetting where it came from, but there was a recent study that showed that cyberbullying usually actually happens within the local offline group. And that kind of like what you're saying in the case of the second girl, this actually went beyond even her pre-existing social network, and she was able to do good at a scale that maybe wouldn't have been possible otherwise. And that this seems to be kind of a common pattern, which is sort of counterintuitive, that actually when things go right on social media or through, social digital experiences, it really is about connecting with those folks beyond, your immediate social circle.
Mhm. Yeah.
Interesting. Um,
It's almost like
hmm,
a numbers game, right? The more
yeah,
people you reach, the wider the net of just catching, I don't wanna say the good people, but the people who can lift you up, right?
right.
And it's just helping our kids cut out the noise to get to those people that are
Yeah.
worth hearing from.